What's up, everybody? Today we are going to work on an old log splitter. A friend of mine, he was in the last video, Dan the man, was out helping us cut, and he also has a box store log splitter that he had purchased from Rural King. Same, almost looks the same as mine. There's some few minor, tiny little details that are a little bit different, but overall it's pretty much the same log splitter. He bought his a few years ago, and it's just been outside and it's had a rough life. The weather kind of got the better of it. The valve broke. And the thing about these box store log splitters, and really a lot of log splitters, have metal tanks on them. And if you're not cautious with it, a lot of people will, you'll put them away and you not fill them up with fuel or put stabilization or something like that in fuel. Well, this tank had been emptied and then it sat for 3 years before he tried to use it again. And what had happened was the inside of the tank had condensation, so moisture inside the tank, and it started to rust. And all that rust, when he went to fill it up with fuel and put it together, all went down into the carburetor. Kind of gunked the carburetor up. Took it apart, tried to clean it. Didn't really work out very good. So trying to rebuild the carburetor, we looked up parts for the carburetor and found that it was going to be like, by the time you had the parts ordered and shipped and paid for taxes and everything, it was over $100 to basically order all the pieces to rebuild the carburetor. So what he ended up doing is he bought an engine from Harbor Freight. He said he paid like $119 for it, for a brand new engine. Similar horsepower and everything, and I'll show it to you guys. We already got it out of the box and started unwrapping it. Just a little Chinese made one. The motor that's on the log splitter now is a Briggs & Stratton. This is a Predator engines, but really there's really not a whole lot different about them. So for what he could have paid to rebuild the carburetor on the old one, he just went and picked up a new motor. And we're going to keep the old one, obviously. We're going to strip it down and see what kind of parts we can salvage off of it, and just to have spare parts. But overall, it's pretty much the same. Bolt pattern's the same. Not sure about the shaft yet. It looks to be the same from what the specs he looked up online. So I guess we'll find out once we get everything taken apart. It was not shipped with oil in it. So we'll have to, once we get everything put together, we'll check the oil, put oil in it, and then fill it up with gas. This too has a metal tank on it, but I think the lesson was learned. Really don't have hardly any hours on this machine. The cylinder looks like it's in good shape. Really, there's like no wear on the I-beam or the cylinder head or anything. I mean, I've had mine for not even a year yet, and mine's got more wear on it than this does. And I grease the slides and I spray it with WD-40 often, and I wipe it down a lot. So this thing really just never got used, but just from being out in the elements and not used was almost worse than being used and abused. So we're gonna try and get it fixed up, get it going, and get him back up and running. So hang out if you want to, and if not, we'll catch you later. Okay, well, there's one more spot on this side. I gotta do so.
And then I can do a part. Can I do roll?
Carter, you break it, you buy it.
Hey,
He ain't gonna break nothing.
can I reel it?
Yeah, here. Let me
So
tighten this.
we're
Let me
making
tighten
it
this.
tighter or
I'm
looser?
just tightening that down. Okay. Now see these? There's 4 different
Yeah.
ones. Each one's bigger, and then you got a smaller one and a smaller. So then you gotta look. You gotta set it on there and see which one matches the threads the best. So it'd be that one right there, right?
Yeah.
You see the